Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Gooner, and welcome to the review and player ratings of yesterday's game against Liverpool. And listen, there was a result out of left field a bit yesterday. Nobody was expecting us to go and win the game, and we did. We pulled it off, albeit Liverpool made a lot of mistakes. Joining me this evening, first of all, we got Sam. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing well, thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me on again, as usual. This is always a pleasure to be on here.
And listen, how are you? And we are going to be joined by some others as well, but they're, as you can see, a little bit late to the party. Best laid plans and all that. But Sam, how are you feeling about yesterday's game? Because it was very, very much completely unexpected.
It was an unexpected victory, really, when you look at it on paper. Of course, Liverpool against us. But I did say beforehand. First of all, before the game. Before we got the lineups and everything, I was actually expecting us to win because, like I said, I was thinking this is a good time to play Liverpool now. They're mentally on holiday. They haven't been looking that great as of late. Basically they've won the title. They haven't really got anything else to play for. That whole 100 points malarkey. Listen, to get motivated for that, players don't really get motivated for that, really. And again, this is a different discussion, but what Pep Guardiola managed to do with Manchester City to keep those players motivated when they'd won the league, that was pretty good going. And Klopp hasn't really managed the same with these Liverpool players. They're pretty much on Miami Beach already, just waiting for the season to officially finish. And I said, us to bounce back from the Spurs game and show that we want to do something. And I thought it was a good time for us to actually beat Liverpool. But then when the lineup came out, and I could see we rested a few players, and we're playing with Torreira and Xhaka, holding me, basically got no creativity in midfield. All the changes we had, Reece Nelson, etc. I just thought, no, listen, this is there's no way this is going to work. And then when we played the game, it was a weird one. It was a real weird one because basically we managed to get quite lucky, I would say. We defended well. Yes, we did. For once, we actually managed to defend well and keep them from scoring. But they had 24 chances where 4 were clear-cut goal-scoring chances, which means they really should have had 4 goals. They had 70% possession, roughly 69% possession. The whole second half we were basically we didn't even, I don't think we had the ball much that whole second half. There was periods where it was like 95% Liverpool ball possession. So, we were lucky. We were lucky. Sometimes you got to win ugly, you got to win lucky, and I know. Listen, I'm really happy we won. Of course, I'm so happy we won. Of course, but you got to look at the game for what it is as well. And we got lucky. We did basically, what Spurs did to us the other day. They let us have the ball, and we had a few chances to score, and Spurs got lucky from our mistakes and scored and beat us, unfortunately. And we did the same to Liverpool. Van Dijk showed for once that he's actually not a machine. He is actually human. He made that huge mistake. I think he took it out of Kolasinac's book because it looked just about the same as what Kolasinac did against Spurs. Gifted us a goal. And then Alisson with that other brain fart, that set up Lacazette for our second goal. Reece Nelson for our second goal. It's 2 huge mistakes for them, completely out of character. I don't think they'll be making, if it was still competitive and they're still going for the league, I don't think they'll be making those mistakes. So of course we capitalised on those, and that was actually the only 2 chances, we actually clear-cut chances we had in the game. Apart from that, we only had 1 other shot. So, statistically, and you actually see the game, we were lucky. We were lucky. Of course, I'm glad we won, but to say to say like we bloody dominated or we bloody did this or we bloody did that. We got away with it and we beat Liverpool. It's lovely to have done it. Basically, it's basically lovely to come away with 3 points and to have beaten the league champions.
Yeah, and we were lucky in the sense that Liverpool were not playing. Liverpool didn't play well yesterday, and they had a lot of possession. They didn't really do much with the possession, and if I'm being honest, they didn't really have to. They'd already won the league, so mentally a little bit you could see that they had dropped off considerably. They've not played. Even last night, they didn't play with the intensity that that they have done all season because they didn't really need to. And I've seen a lot of people, even in the chat here, saying that only negative Arsenal fans thought we wouldn't win. Well, come on, let's be honest here. Nobody, whether you're negative or positive about Arsenal, expected us to beat Liverpool because they have been so above everybody else this season. And of course we're all glad that we won. Listen, it was a great win for us. In the context of our season, it probably doesn't really mean a lot. But yeah, listen, like we said, Liverpool just they didn't really need to go gun ho in this game because, like I say, they won the league, and we have to look at it as from an Arsenal point of view that it was just a massive confidence booster, this game. And we can take confidence in the fact that we beat the champions at home, and listen, we go on to Man City, and we have to just keep it grounded. Although it was a great win, and we did ride our luck at times, but we've just got to keep it grounded and not get too carried away because we've been here countless times before where we win a game and everybody think that everything's rosy and that all our problems are solved, and our problems are far from solved. Do you know what I mean? We've still got a lot of issues, and we need to just keep our heads.
Yeah, of course we've got to make sure we stay grounded and realise that, listen, we've just played a Liverpool side who are basically, ready for Miami Beach. They've got all their flights booked, all their holidays booked, and they're basically, they're not going to. Of course, I say that. Of course, you don't get to America at the moment, but of course, it's a metaphor, really. They're all ready for holiday. Basically, they're ready for the league to finish, and we capitalised on 2 huge mistakes they had. I think overall, though, you look at that game again objectively from a non-Arsenal standpoint, and Liverpool basically dominated the game. And I think if you played the game again 10 times, they would probably win the game. If they don't make those 2 mistakes, we're not scoring goals. The only goal scoring chances we got because they gave them to us. Apart from one other shot, apart from that, they had 24 shots. 4 clear-cut goal-scoring chances. If it wasn't for great goalkeeping from Martinez, who basically kept them at bay, especially that last-minute save where he has a fantastic dive to his left to pull off that incredible save. Just pushes with his fingertips, pushes the ball onto the post. Amazing save, one of the saves of the season for me. It just keeps us in the game, and we were lucky. That's the thing. We were lucky, but it's great. I'm glad luck was finally on our side because normally luck is not on our side. Normally we're the team, has got more goal chances, and we lose against a team who has hardly any goal chances, and we're making mistakes and gifting teams goals. It's normally us doing that. So I'm so happy that for once we were on the other side of that, and we were the one getting goals gifted to us and being dominated against, and managed to, do a smash and grab, basically, run away, steal the points. I'm so glad we can finally do that. And you've got to be able to do that sometimes. You've got to be able to win ugly, when it's not really going your way and things are not looking good, but you still manage to grab the 3 points. And that's what we managed to do. And I'm so happy we did that. And it feels good that it was Liverpool, who not only the league champions, but they're a team we've struggled against in recent years when they've got Klopp, and it was a lovely 2-1 victory to cherish, But as you say, in the grand scheme of things, in the league, it hasn't really done much for us. I mean, yes, we still should be able to, if we win our last games, to be able to hopefully grab a Europa League spot if the other results go our way. But of course, the main focus now is going to be Saturday in the FA Cup semi-final against City, who rested, their key players in the last game, so they're going to be fresh and ready to go. And that's a Man City team that is motivated and are ready to play. So, based on what we did against Liverpool, I'm sorry, I'm not confident for that game. I'm really not, even though it's a game at Wembley and everything. It's going to be great fun, and of course I hope we win. But I'm not confident going into that game at all, because why should we have any confidence based on what we actually saw against Liverpool? What we actually achieved apart from a lucky victory. So, now we're going to go against Manchester City team who, pretty much score goals for fun, and now they've rested their players, and they're going to want that final FA Cup final just as much as we do. I mean, there's no divine right for us to want that more than them. So, we're going to have to play out of our skins, and Arteta's going to have to put something together that's going to be special, and we're going to have to put together a special performance to be able to beat them on Saturday. I mean, De Bruyne is always a thorn in our side. He's going to be hugely difficult to play against. And in this formation we're playing now, we've got to be able to put some bias in there, I think, because if we stick with two deep holding midfielders like we did with Torreira and Xhaka, we're basically going to have nothing to play with in midfield. That's what happened against Liverpool now. I mean, we had no creativity. We weren't able to hold on to the ball because those two players are, they're basically ball winners. Well, Xhaka's supposed to be able to hold on the ball, but we know he can't really do that. And Torreira's more of a ball winner. So we had no creativity, no one to bring the ball forwards in midfield, and so we're going to have to put Ceballos back in to be able to do that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that central midfield against De Bruyne and Rodri and those guys there. It's going to be tough. Yeah,
and like you say, it is, in the grand scheme of things, the result against Liverpool was, it was a nothing game really for both teams, and the real test, the big test, is going to come on Saturday, where we are going to be up against a much stronger opposition, and like you say, they are going to be up for it. They're not
going to be on holiday.
Yeah, listen, Pep's teams are never on holiday, even when there's nothing to play for. So there's it's gonna be a tough test, and big up everybody in the chat as well. Melina,
big up everyone in the chat.
Arsenal Misfit. Taib, Omar, Ilias,
all the legends,
and all the legends. Taib is asking, would you drop Pepe because he hasn't offered nothing in
it was
the last few
yesterday.
Games? And
he was absolutely terrible.
Do you know the thing is, Sam? Right? Yeah, I would drop Pepe because listen, he hasn't done it, and listen, I've said, on previous streams that, I'm willing to give Pepe more time. But you know what? The more games go by, I tell you what, my patience is running thin with Pepe, just simply because he offers nothing. And, the signs are looking very, very, very worrying. And I just hope that next season he can pull something out of the bag. Listen, this season's a bit of a write-off, so I'm not expecting anything from any of our players. I mean, we've got to perform in the FA Cup. It's probably our best chance of getting a trophy and getting a Europa League spot. But yeah, I have to say I'm starting to worry about Pepe, and I'm worrying if the price tag is, when we've seen it before with other players. They move for big money and it's an absolute flop. and I'm just wondering if the price tag is what's. Listen, maybe because he costs so much money. If he was a £40 million signing or a £30 million signing, maybe we'd be a little bit more patient. But because he costs 72 million, and he's offered moments of brilliance, but in terms of consistent performances, he's not really offered a great deal. And I have to say, I am a little bit worried with Pepe and what kind of a player we've got.
Yeah, I mean, he's for me, he's shown very little overall progress. I mean, yeah, he's had a couple of games here and there where he's sort of shown a glimpse of what he's able to do, but he's just not been able to put it together consistently, not consistently throughout a whole game. He's still for me, he hasn't had one game where he's looked really good the whole game. He's had a couple of games where he's had like a good half or a good majority of the game, but still made a few mistakes. Well, sorry
to cut you off here. Melina's just said Pepe looked like the one he went through maternity.
Yeah. Oh, he's got this attitude. You see him. He's got like this attitude where he's like he doesn't really look like he's bothered. He's got this whole way of being on the field. He just doesn't look like he's bothered. And for me, that's just, I hate seeing that. And also, like I just said, there's been no real progress there. He's played 30-odd games for us now this season. And you would expect through 30-odd games, I know a lot of those have been substitutions, but he's had a lot of starts now as well. When someone comes in with a £72 million price tag, you basically bought a player that many other top clubs wanted, and we went for it was a huge surprise we got him. I mean, that's people have to remember that. I mean, we thought we were struggling to get Zaha, and everyone was saying, "Oh, this Pepe guy looks fantastic," because he was fantastic in the French Ligue 1 last season, and tore them apart basically. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's the next big winger in Europe and all that." And there's no way we're going to get him because he's going to go to Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or something like that. And all of a sudden, we were the team who managed to sign him thanks to Raul's connections. And then so of course you come in with that type of highlight reel and what you managed to do in Ligue 1 for an entire season there, and you come here to the Premier League with a £72 million price tag. We're going to expect something from you. I'm sorry, even though we realise you have to have some time to adapt, and the Premier League is different, of course, to Ligue 1 and all of that. But after 30-odd games now, we've got to expect you to start doing something. And he's just this last game. It looks again like the guy's never, he's never played football before. I mean, it was that bad, and for me, that's worrying. It's really worrying.
Yeah, big up GDU Gaming and Gunners Football Talk who's joined the chat. Great to have you guys on. But yeah, listen, Sam, I agree with you. I at this stage you expect to see more
progress. What's your progress, right? Yeah, at the moment, there's no progress.
And he needs to start performing he needs to start performing more consistently, because the problem as well, and it hasn't helped him having a decent right back, but consistently, but still for that amount of money, and do you know what's really frustrating with Pepe is that he's got the talent. He has got the talent, and we've seen glimpses of it. And he, when he turns it on and when he does the stuff that we all know that he can do, it's there. It's not like he's a shit player trying to play above his level. No. He's actually got the talent.
Well, that's the thing that's so frustrating, because they say in training he's amazing in training. He does all these fantastic things in training. He dribbles, uses everyone as training cones in training. Apparently, he can do the most amazing things. But then when he gets into a game, he's like a deer in headlights. It's like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and I do genuinely think part of that comes down to the fact that he's the Premier League is a lot more. Listen, the French league is dead. You might as well
It's an easier league. Of
you
course,
might as well just put your deck chair out in the middle of the pitch in the French league, because apart from PSG, there's no other real decent team. And the French league, French league is like the Scottish league, just dead. Do you know what I mean? But Pepe does need to start performing, because see the problem being is that if he doesn't start performing on a consistent basis, then we're left with another player who is quite frankly shit. And I don't listen. I don't.
It's a flop. It could be a flop, couldn't he? He's got heading in that direction.
Yeah, and the only thing that's possibly saving him at the moment is the fact that the majority of the team have been shit this season, and that we've had, quite frankly, probably the worst season that I have ever seen. In all the time that I've been like watching Arsenal and supporting Arsenal, and I mean I've been supporting Arsenal since I was 5, and listen, I've never seen a shit season. And up until this season,
this is as bad as that last George Graham season. Just before he got sacked, I think we finished 12th that season. That's been our worst season until now. And but when it comes to Pepe, I saw very early on. Listen, I've only seen highlight reels of Pepe in the French league. He looks amazing. I never really watched him in the French league. The French league's not really a league I'm that interested in. But I remember seeing him quite early for Arsenal, and I remember one of the first things that caught my eye very early on was this he's only got one foot. He's only got his left foot.
Yeah.
He literally can't use his right foot. You see the way he dribbles, the way he passes. He just can't use his right foot. Whenever he gets onto his right foot, he does everything to get back onto his left. And that is a problem in the Premier League, because you've got to be in the Premier League. If you're going to be a top player, you've got to be two-footed, or at least be able to use your weak foot to a good level, because you don't have the time, you don't have the space, you don't have the time. The ball moves quicker, everything's quicker. It's a higher tempo. If you need to move the ball over to your left foot all the time to do everything, you're not going to get anywhere. And that has been a huge concern of mine with Pepe. And he just keeps on, so you can see he really struggles, large parts of the game. He goes missing. And it doesn't help being together with Bellerin. Bellerin hasn't helped him that much, hasn't been able to form much of a partnership with there, because Bellerin hasn't been able to overlap and alleviate him and, create things, be able to let Pepe go more inside where he's more comfortable. Pepe's had to stay a lot out wide there, which he's not comfortable out wide, because then he has to use his right foot more, which he can't use. But even now with Cedric, he had Cedric behind him now against Liverpool, and we hardly saw him in the game. The only things he did in the game, we just lost the ball. So his progress is very, very, very slow, if there is any progress whatsoever, and it's just not good enough, because even though, as you say, you're coming from the French league and everything, you're coming with that skill set, you're coming with that reputation, and you've cost 72 million quid, one of the highest fees, paid in Europe, the last few years. We've got to be able to expect more. We must be able to expect more by now, and it's just not happening.
No, it isn't. It isn't, and I have to say, it is incredibly worrying. Listen, he's got to fix up. He's got to fix up. Otherwise, he's going to end up being another player that just passes the club by, and then we're left with another player who's not good. But I mean, listen, I suppose, listen, that could be said for a lot of our players, and we all know that there's a lot of players that we need to get rid of.
Should we involve the people in the chat? Should we want to involve them? Should we start want me to read some stuff out from the chat, or do you want to do it? Or
yeah, you can do, Sam. Yeah, you can do, and then we'll what we'll do is we'll go through the player ratings of the yesterday's game.
Fair enough. Yeah, so basically, the guys in the chat, big up everyone in the chat. So all our regulars there, it's great to see you guys. Cheddar saying Pepe shit, so inconsistent. Omar saying Pepe needs to step up next season. Cheddar's saying Wenger's in Ligue 1, you should avoid destroying defences. The French league means nothing. Yeah, exactly. It's a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it, in the Premier League? Omar saying again, I've given him a pass this term. He needs to fix that. So it's basically giving him a free ride the first season then. So yeah, I suppose he's going to expect more the second season. GDU Gaming, big up Sam, big up Daniel, beating Liverpool. Yeah, a lot of people showing their adulation and happiness of beating Liverpool. Grant Roberts, I'm not worried about Pepe. Remember, he's played under 3 managers in the first season. Yeah, okay. Still, you'd expect him to do more on the pitch when he actually has the ball. Taib says, seriously, Sam, if I was Arteta, I would look to replace Pepe. Yeah. I think we need to start looking at ways of getting him out, maybe.
Yeah, and the only thing I will say in response to your comment, Grant, is that Martinelli's played under 3 different managers and he's performed consistently. So that's and he's in the same league as Pepe in terms of they're both newcomers to the club. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing I will say on that. Yeah. But I get your point. I do get your point that he's played under 3 different managers. But listen, unfortunately,
that's made it a bit harder. But still, he's had enough time now, to play games and show something, and it's just not happening. Cheddar's saying he was probably going to sign for a team like Barcelona. Arsenal came in with a big money fee, and Pepe. Club probably said, yeah, we'll sell you only to them. Yep. Something like that probably happened. Frustrating. Gunners Football Talk is saying it's frustrating because Omar's saying, yeah, he needs to use his right foot more. Stop being so predictable. Yeah, he's very predictable because he can only use his left foot. Taib says again, Omar just don't want him to flop, but the signs are already there. Yep. And Gunners Football Talk says, yeah, very true. With the players with Zoolander, when he plays with Zoolander, he's extinct. So basically, a lot of people agree, that Pepe is he's not producing the goods.
Yeah. Remember, guys, do subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. Hit the like button. What we'll do now is we'll go through the player ratings, Sam. Right. So we'll start with Martinez. For me, Martinez, he had a good game. He's been playing quite well recently. The only thing I've noticed with Martinez in the last couple of games that there is a few mistakes starting to creep in into his game, which is a little bit kind of maybe worrying. But overall, he has, he's done really well. So in terms of this game last night, I'm probably going to give him a 7 because I think he was again solid. But like I say, there is starting to be a few mistakes with him creeping in.
Right. For me, apart from that mistake he made at the beginning of the game where he gave the ball away to Liverpool in a dodgy area, I would say he had a good game. He made a few good saves. He had that absolutely amazing save right at the end of the game that kept us in it. For me, he gets an 8 really because he saved a few clear-cut chances, and he looked, apart from that wobble he had at the beginning, he just looked so sturdy for me. And I have to, because of the chances he saved, I have to give him an 8.
Yeah. And okay, so the back line was
the back 3. We had Holding,
Tierney, and Tierney. So Okay, so we'll start with Rob Holding, and yeah, do you want to go first on this one, Sam?
I'll
Rob
tell you what,
Holding?
Holding for me was my man of the match for Arsenal. He was really good. He was sturdy. He was strong. He made Mane into his little bitch. I mean, that guy, he's strong. You know, Rob Holding's been doing. He's obviously had a lot of gym work going on while recovering. You know, from his injuries, and he's built up some muscle. And bloody hell, the way he just steamrolled Mane. It was pretty awesome to see, to be honest. He's a strong boy, but he's been solid. You know, Holding's been a solid guy in defence. And for me, he had a really good performance yesterday. Some good tackles, some great headers, and he kept the line sturdy at the back there, together with Luiz and Tierney. And for me, he was my Arsenal man of the match, performer of the match. So for me, he gets a 9.
Yeah, and do you know what? I have to agree with you, Sam. Yeah, for me, Holding gets a 9, and I don't understand why he doesn't start many more games. And you know, he'll be typical fashion that he'll probably get dropped on Saturday, but I hope not, because he has, you know, like you say, when he steamrolled Mane off the ball, and yeah, I thought he was pretty decent Holding, and actually we could. You know, if we use him a lot more, we could probably get better results. And again, I agree with you. I'm going to give him a 9 as well, because I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
David Luiz.
Yeah, he had a better game than recently, but you know, he did all right. He did what he needed to do. He had there's a few passes there, here and there. He might have been able to do different, but you know, overall he did okay. And listen, as a defensive unit, we did very well. Yeah, they got all their chances to score, but we did manage to block some shots, and we did look, you know, quite organised there at the back. So for me, he didn't really do much spectacular, but he did okay. So for me, he gets a 7. I'll have to give him a 7.
Yeah, see, for me, David Luiz, I'm probably going to give him I think a 6.5, because again, he I don't know, he didn't do anything spectacularly wrong yesterday, but I don't know, he wasn't the best defender. He thing with David Luiz, right? He always frightens me every time. Even when he's having a good game, he always frightens me whenever he gets on the ball or gets put under pressure, because you know that he's got a mistake in him. And listen, he's again like the age-old problem. He lacks consistency.
Yeah, he's inconsistent. Yeah.
But for me, he gets a 6.5.
Fair enough. Yeah,
he gets a 6.5. So Kieran Tierney, now I have to say he done all right in that position. The only problem is in this position, putting him at the left-sided centre back, is you lose a lot of his ability going forward, as opposed to when he's playing in that wing back position. And I think he's, you know, yes, he's a great defender. He's fantastic, and he did brilliantly yesterday. But again, you know, I think part of what makes him a good left back, or you know, is that his ability going forward as well. And putting him in that centre back left pair in that trio, he's losing a lot of his ability going forward. And for me, listen, he done a job yesterday, and he done brilliantly, and for that I'm going to give him an 8. But again, I'd like to see him in that wing back position, because he's like I say, his ability going forward, especially when you factor in that we don't have any creative midfielders, so we're relying a lot on our wing backs to create stuff from midfield, especially you know, yesterday when we were playing with the pairing of Torreira and Granit Xhaka. We've got none of them. Both of them players aren't creative players. So you need players like Tierney and Bukayo Saka, and on the other end, on the other side, Pepe, or whether it be Nelson, or whether it be Martinelli, or whether it be Suarez or Bellerin. You need creativity from those players if you haven't got it in the center of the park. And for me, Tierney needs to be that wing back position, because he offers so much going forward, and he's possibly one of the only players at the football club that can cross a ball.
Exactly. Yeah, you're dead right. For me, Tierney had a really, really good game in that left central back role. He just got slotted in there like he'd played it his whole life. He looked really comfortable there. He did really well. He just, for me, not quite as good as Holding yesterday, but very close. So for me, overall, he gets an 8.5, right, just behind Holding. But like you say, I would rather see him in the wing back role because he gives us so much more with the ball running forwards. That's a whole part of our attack that's missing without him there. Those crosses and passes in and that interplay with the left-sided forward. That we generally miss them when he's playing left centre back. So we lose that whole dimension. And like you said, especially if we're playing with two holding midfielders, we would need that extra dimension that he would add in attack. So yeah, I agree. For me, Tierney, his best position is out there on the wing back, and keeps Saka up front in a forward role, going forwards. But listen, he was asked to play that role yesterday, and he played it really well. And Tierney is quickly becoming probably my new favourite player at the club. I mean, he's just looking so good, and wow, what a player! He can fit in. Left centre back, you play him out wing back. He's just looking so good, and he talks to players. He has a go at them. How many players have you seen for Arsenal recently in our defence have a go at each other? None. So for him to have a go at them, it's really good. He puts them in their place, and we're looking at maybe a potential Arsenal captain here in the next few years. So really, really good performance for me. As I said, 8.5, and I just hope that he doesn't continue in the left centre back role, because we need, like you said, I agree completely. We need him, his attacking abilities as well. Yeah,
and listen, I mean, it worked yesterday. With what Arteta done, but again, with Tierney, you need his creativity. And we're certainly going to need it on Saturday. Certainly going to need it on Saturday, because I'll tell you something now. If you're banking on Torreira and Xhaka, or even Xhaka and Ceballos to do a job against Man City's midfield, then unfortunately we're going to be woefully disappointed. So we need, if we're going to have any chance on Saturday, that we need that creativity. Okay, so let's go on to the pairing of Torreira and Xhaka. So we'll start with Torreira.
Do you want me to go first, or are you going first?
Yeah, you go first with Torreira.
Yeah, listen, I thought Torreira, he's come in now. He basically hasn't played for a while, has he? And he came in, and I thought he did a decent job. Not exactly up to his best, but he did a decent job, as I said. Some decent tackles. Some decent passes, but he's still too lightweight. You can see he's a bit out of his depth. He was muscled off the ball a few times, and he's not the world class. Well, of course we know he's not world class, but he's not that level of ball winning midfielder or holding midfielder we want. He's not at the quality we want and need. So. I do think we can get rid of Torreira, and that's something we should look at doing, to maybe financing the Partey deal, or maybe to bring in someone else at that level. But as for yesterday, he did okay. as I said, he hasn't played for a while, and he came in and did okay. But it's not easy when you have to play that holding role against that Liverpool midfield, and they're getting all the ball, and we basically can't do anything with the ball. And so for me, he did okay. I would have to say he gets because he still had a few decent tackles, and that I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Yeah. Listen, before I get into my rating, I'm just going to add in Nitesh, who is backstage.
Back again.
He's finishing his makeup and chatting up the cast of The Only Way Is Essex. If you go by the girls that were on on the show yesterday,
the Chingford pub girls.
Yeah, the Chingford pub girls. Jesus
I actually was trying to stay awake very hard and I fell asleep. Then someone was calling me, so I woke up because of that.
Oh, okay.
Ryan's not coming on, by the way. He said something came up he had to take care of, so yeah, he's not coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
luckily I woke up. Otherwise, it would have been embarrassing later on in the day when I would have been sleeping and he would have been waiting for the other thing that we are doing after that.
Yeah. So Torreira for me, I don't know. I'm going to give Torreira. I think I'm going to give him an 8. Because I don't think he did that badly against Liverpool. But also the thing with Torreira as well, like he is our only, defensive midfielder who actually can do a job at the moment. And obviously, I don't necessarily think playing him with Xhaka is probably necessarily a good idea, because you have next to no creativity, and we need creativity. And but yeah, listen, for me, Torreira probably gets an 8, just simply because I don't think he had a bad game. I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch. But yeah, I don't think he had an overly bad game. So Nitesh, obviously, your Torreira, what did you make of his performance yesterday?
Well, even though I am in sleep, I am not going to give him an 8. I would still probably give him a 6 because he wasn't doing anything special. If you see for the goal as well, he got out muscled by Robertson, and that is how the move initially got into flow. And after that, Robertson passed it, I think, to Mane, and Mane passed it back to him, and then it came back into the box and he scored. So it was Torreira who couldn't win that aerial header, and that is how Robertson out muscled him, and they created the chance for the first goal. That's the only goal that they scored. So I think it was finally a wake up call for everyone who was saying that Torreira is ready for the Premier League and that he can be as physical as any defensive midfielder in the Premier League, that he can get out muscled when he's playing against a team like Liverpool. So I'll probably give him a 6.
Yeah. Listen, it's
so now Xhaka, our favourite.
Yeah, no, Granit Xhaka. So I'm going to start with Nitesh on this one because we all know it's his favourite player.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. Because even though he wasn't the best Arsenal player on the pitch, first half he was poor too many times, maybe 2 to 3 times he lost the ball as well. So if my highest Arsenal rating for yesterday is going to be around 8.5 or 9, I would give him not more than 7.5. Second half he was good. He made up for the first half in the second. And if not for that second half, if you want me to give him a first half rating, I would probably give him a 4 or a 5. But if you want to give him an overall rating, I'd probably give it a 7.5.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Sam, Granit Xhaka?
Yeah, Xhaka, I thought he did okay. Again, not spectacular. He did a few decent things. He lost the ball a few times. But he did okay. He had a few good passes. He had a few good interventions. For me, he just gets a solid 7. Really, he did decent in that role, and he's quite good positionally in that deep holding role. So he's not getting out of position too often. So at least he works quite well there in that role, even though he doesn't do a lot of spectacular things. But yeah, he did a decent job yesterday, and so for me it's a solid 7.
Yeah, so for me, Xhaka, I'm going to give Xhaka a 6 for the simple fact being that he just keeps on giving the ball away in stupid positions, and he's just the thing is with Xhaka as well is that he's not very he's not very mobile, is he? And like yesterday against Liverpool, you could see that like he kept giving the ball away and just he wasn't really listen, for somebody who's meant to be like a decent player, and I just feel with like with Arteta, right? I feel that he sets the team up so that to try and hide all of Granit Xhaka's errors. Like I just get the feeling that he's trying to nullify his errors as much as possible and try and focus on his positives. And to be honest, he hasn't really got many, has he, Granit Xhaka? He hasn't really he hasn't really got any positives in terms of what he can pay the odd pass. He can score the odd free kick, obviously once in a blue moon. So yeah, I don't know. For me, he's not. For me, he just gets a 6.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so now the wing backs, and they were Suarez and Bukayo Saka. So we'll start with Suarez, and I'm going to start with you first, Sam.
Yeah, Cedric, I thought had a decent game. He looks a lot more settled into that position than I think Bellerin does. He does a bit more going forwards as well. He seems to know where to be position wise. Bellerin's often out of position when we're in defence, and Cedric's not. Cedric knows actually how to play that right-sided side of defence. So yeah, for me, he's quite a solid right back, right wing back. Didn't really get much chance in attack yesterday. Didn't get much help from Pepe, our Long John Silver, as I call him now. The one-legged wonder. So yeah, it was difficult for him in attack, but he did a decent job again. He had a few decent tackles, a few decent interventions. He didn't look like he was struggling. He did a decent job. So for me, he gets a 7.
Yeah, a lot of people bigging up Nitesh and saying that somebody should give him a coffee.
If coffee worked for me, I would have probably had it before I fell asleep. It doesn't just work for me.
Nah, doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah. Sometimes it may work for me when I'm just normal and I have a coffee and then I can't sleep for like 1.5 days, but not when I know when I'm going to sleep. I may drink a coffee and sleep for 2 days.
Hey, listen, when you spend so long chasing girls from the cast of The Only Way Is Essex, do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, even that was tiring. Do you know what I mean?
That was funny.
But I just realized I was just going through a post and I realized I and Shannon have a common friend now, and his name is Ryan.
Right, is that Ryan? Oh, the plot thickens. Yeah. I just want to address GDU Gaming in the chat. My next quiz will probably be, I'm thinking maybe tomorrow or Saturday, one of those 2 days. I'm thinking maybe I'll set up another quiz. But just follow on Twitter. If you got me on Twitter, if you haven't followed me, it's at 1980_Greenwood. Just add me on Twitter. I think I've already got you on Twitter. But anyway, if you don't, just add me, and I always post my stuff on Twitter when I'm going to do
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
So where did we get to? We got to Bukayo Saka.
Yeah. So you
Cedric,
did you do
sorry.
you didn't do Cedric yet, did you? I just did Cedric. I gave him a 7. You two have to give him.
I haven't done Cedric. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Jesus
I
Christ.
gave him a 7. That's you guys' turn.
Yeah. Okay. So Cedric. For me, yeah, I can't disagree with you, Sam. For me, he gets a 7 because he didn't really have a lot of support from Pepe. Was Pepe on that side?
It was
Pepe?
Reece Nelson yesterday.
No, it's Nelson. Sorry, yeah, sorry, I'm getting all confused because you know what, Pepe, he did play out on the left, didn't he, Pepe? So
I thought he was out on the right. I thought he was out on the right as well. I thought they changed a bit, but anyway.
Yeah, that's
he
why
didn't
I'm
have any
getting
help
confused.
anyway.
That's why I'm getting confused because didn't he start on the right and then switch to the left and then
he didn't get any help from Nelson either. So
no,
yeah, he started on the left, then he switched to the right, then he was back on the left. So that is what I was trying to say. Arteta is not just confusing them; he's confusing us as well.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
what'd you give Cedric?
So I'm going to give Cedric so 7. So, Nitesh, what would you give Cedric?
Maybe I read a few places where they were saying that Cedric had a poor game. So that was he didn't get involved with Reece Nelson. Like a lot of people were saying that Bellerin is poor because on the right because he does not get involved with Pepe. Yesterday it wasn't Bellerin, it was Cedric, and Cedric was involved with Reece Nelson. He was supposed to link up with him. So I read a few places that they said that it was Cedric had a very bad game. But I would still give him a 6.5. If I gave Torreira a 6, who was responsible for conceding the part of the player that conceded the goal. I think Cedric was also not that much involved, but yeah, he is obviously more effective than Bellerin. So I would still give him a 6.5.
Yeah, fair enough. I can agree to that. So who's that? Saka then, isn't it? Saka out on the left.
Saka, yeah. So
yes.
Shall I go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did okay. Not spectacular. It was difficult. It was a difficult game yesterday, because Liverpool had so much possession. We couldn't really keep the ball. We didn't really have any creativity. It was a tough game for us yesterday. We just had to hold on. And Saka didn't really do that much. He did a few decent things. He's a good player and he doesn't do much wrong. But he just really couldn't get into the game for me yesterday. It didn't really look like he was really getting into it, doing a lot of different things. But he did okay. So for me, I would give him, he gets a straight up 7 as well for me.
Yeah, and Nitesh, Saka?
I think you're only as bad as the other player on your wing. So it's because of Pepe that even Saka wasn't as involved as probably you see him being involved. And Pepe is bringing the team down at the moment. That is a very big problem. 72 million or not, that guy doesn't deserve to start against City. And so with respect to that, I think it had an impact on Saka as well. There is no interchanging play between him and the wing back. And a lot of people said probably that if it wasn't Bellerin that day, it was someone else on the right hand side, maybe Pepe would have done better. But then yesterday you have seen that Saka was on the left hand side and Pepe was on the left hand side. No difference in play. And in fact, on the left hand side, he's going to be worse because that isn't even his strength. If he takes the ball, as I said, on the left foot, it will take him towards the corner flag. Whereas on the right hand side, he can at least come in centrally. So, with respect to that, I think Saka wasn't as impactful in the game. It was one of the times where you keep switching around the player and he finally says, okay, I'm saturated. I can't keep performing for you when you keep rotating me around in circles, like from one place to the other. And finally, that was a game which is obviously also impacted by Pepe, the fact that Pepe is out of form totally. So I think with respect to Saka, I can give him maybe maybe another 6.5, similarly, and to Cedric, because he did look okay. There weren't any kind of mistakes that you can highlight, but he wasn't too impactful on the game.
No, I agree to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Saka, I have to agree with Omar in the chat and give him a 6 because he wasn't that. He didn't create nothing, and yes, I know you could say that that had a lot to do with Pepe, but yeah, listen, if you're going to play Saka out on the left, you either need to play him. You need to play him further forward. I don't think that left wing back role suits him. And if you are going to play him in that left wing back role, you need to play him with somebody like Aubameyang, who's actually maybe a little bit better going forward and a little bit better at getting back. I don't think playing Pepe there is going to help Saka's cause. And we seen it last night where Pepe offered nothing going back or going forward, and that impacted Saka's play. So if you're going to play Saka as a wing back, you need to play him maybe with Aubameyang, or if you're going to play him on that left hand side, he needs to be further forward. I don't think. I don't think that experiment yesterday worked out quite well when we're playing him with Pepe. So yeah, for me, he gets a 6. Okay, so let's move on to the front three of Nelson. Lacazette, was it Nelson Lacazette?
Yeah, Nelson Lacazette and then Pepe. Yeah.
And Pepe. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start with Pepe. Because obviously, since we're pretty much there anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll start this one, and for me, and people are going to think maybe I'm a little bit too harsh. But for me, Pepe gets a 5 because he offered nothing yesterday. Absolutely nothing. And, I expected, a little bit better from him. And, listen, I said to you, didn't I say to you guys in the last couple of streams, I said, wouldn't it be great to see if Pepe can do anything on the left? Well, listen, that happened last night and he did fuck all. So I've obviously that theory went out the window. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 5. And Sam, Pepe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's a bit generous, to be honest, with his performance yesterday. I just want to say to a couple of guys in the chat, thanks for taking part again in the chat. It's always good to have you guys on board with us. All the regulars are putting a lot of good input here today, and GDU.
Yeah.
Floating a lot with us, saying how good we are together with a few of the others.
Big up Simpy.
Big up everyone in the chat.
Simpy and everybody else in the chat.
Yeah, of course, all the regulars. It's great to see them again. I'll see the Steve, the Arsenal misfit. He puts in a good point here. He says, for me, judging the forwards and our usual attacking players was hard because so many played out of position. And players that don't play much, everything was so disjointed going forward. Yeah, yes, they were. Yeah, it was a bit disjointed, a bit unusual yesterday, wasn't it? But back to Pepe. For me, he was absolutely useless. I mean, really useless. I don't think I could count on one hand the amount of times he actually did something good. I mean, he was always losing the ball. His passing wasn't ambitious. It was always just simple passes. He wasn't even in the game most of the game. I know it's difficult because we didn't really have the ball, and he's a possession-based player, right? He's not really going to do that much if we don't have the ball. But again, he should be good on a counter-attack with his speed. We should be able to utilise that. But anyway, he was completely useless. So for me, I'm going to be kind to him and give him a 4. That's being kind to him.
Yeah, Nitesh, Pepe.
Before I get into Pepe, I just want to say Liverpool gifted us 2 goals yesterday. We have not created them. We have not. I'm not saying we have not earned them. We did earn them because we pressed hard.
Yeah,
even Saka pressed hard. and even he was pushing forward. Reece Nelson also tried to push hard, and even Lacazette did that, and that is why we got those goals out of errors. But then Liverpool has gifted us 2 goals. Both goals were gifts. It's not as if we have created them or we were really having some epic play or something like that. Why is everyone saying happy birthday, Nitish? I don't understand that. Maybe I'm still sleepy, but
Well,
it's not my
isn't it your
birthday.
birthday? Isn't it your birthday?
Who said
Someone's got
it's
the
my,
wrong information then.
who said it's my birthday? Just because I look drunk, because I'm sleepy, doesn't mean it's my birthday.
Simply happy 12th birthday.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, remembering rest in peace the days when I was a virgin. But anyways, coming back to the thing about Arsenal, yeah. So we got 2 gifts yesterday. If we didn't get those 2 gifts yesterday, we would have been trailing 1-0, and
Yeah.
then people like Pepe would be playing, and there would be no chances created, because if you see, apart from the 2 shots and 2 goals, which everyone was talking about, Arsenal had 2 shots, they got 2 goals. There were no other clear chances that we created. If we had created a chance apart from that, we would have probably troubled Allison. It would have shown on the saves list, but it did not. Martinez made 8 saves. How
Mm.
many saves did Allison make? I don't think any. He just conceded those 2 goals and 2 shots, and that was about it. That was our attacking contribution. So luckily we were on the side that had the 2 goals, and Liverpool was on the side that had the 1 goal, and we can be happy about it that we have done the job, because we defended okayish, and their attack has been out of form, and we got all 3 points. But there is no special credit that I can give to Pepe. Maybe I can give a bit of credit to Lacazette and a bit of credit to Reece Nelson, but I can't give any kind of credit to Pepe. I would probably give him a 2.5 or 3, and
Yeah.
and probably if I could, I would fine him 72 million.
Yeah, fine him.
Yeah.
We want that money back. We want it back.
Okay, let's go on to the other side now, and let's go on to Reece Nelson. And again, go on, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson didn't really do much. He scored that goal. He pressed well, and he got that. He put that second goal away. Decent finish. So he scored the goal. So you can't give him a bad score. He did okay. He didn't really do anything spectacular. He didn't really link up that well on the right with Cedric. Reece Nelson, he showed, apart from scoring the goal, he showed he's quite an average player. He's not. I don't think we want him going forwards. To be honest, I mean, he's a player for me. We can start offloading. He's not good enough to be, gunning for the Champions League or anything like that. So he did okay. He's not a great player. He's not going to be a great player unless he all of a sudden develops drastically in some miraculous fashion. I just can't see it happening. But he did okay yesterday. He got that goal. Of course, happy with the goal. Happy for him with that. So for me, because of the goal, and he did okay, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, see, Reece Nelson for me, like you say, he scored the goal, but again, he didn't do a lot. And I have to say, right, even though he scored the goal, and I ain't gonna mark him down for that, because he did, like I say, he did score a goal. But I have to say, right, for me, Reece Nelson, if he don't start performing consistently, he's another player that for me needs to be either we need to decide what we're going to do with him, because for me, I don't think he's anywhere near good enough for the level where we want to be. And actually, he is not. He's not. You'd think now that the length of time that he's been at Arsenal and the length of time that he's been around the first team, you'd think he'd be doing it more on a consistent basis. And actually,
Yeah,
he's had enough time. He's had enough time now to bed in. And listen, for me, he's listen. I personally, I don't think he's anywhere near good enough for Arsenal Football Club. But like I say, in terms of yesterday, because he scored the goal, I'm going to give him a 6, just for the simple fact being that he scored the goal. And but other than that, that's a very generous 6 as well, because I don't think he did an awful lot other than score the goal. Nitesh, Reece Nelson.
See, before, like, he scored the goal, I was like, okay, Reece Nelson 4.5. Then I remembered three things. I remembered Alex Iwobi having the ball at his feet in the same position and how he would mess it up. So I give him one more point there. So if 4.5 becomes 5.5. Then I thought of Mesut Ozil. Then I thought if Mesut Ozil was there in that position, how he would mess it up and not score. He would probably try to pass it to another player, and the chance would be wasted in that. So I give him another point for that. So I make it 6.5. But then I thought about another player called Yaya Sonogo, and I would think that if Yaya Sonogo was in that position and he tried to score a goal, how he would mess it up as well. So I would give him an additional 0.5 for that as well. See, the kid was getting slated because he was not performing at Arsenal's level. He got one good chance, he converted it. He did press for the ball as well. He pressed forward yesterday and he converted his chance. If not for that goal, probably he would have been getting somewhere around around 5 or 6, but I will still give him maybe around 7 at least, because he deserves that for that goal, and it proved to be the winning goal. And not denying the fact that he was also pressing really hard yesterday, which also was effective and it impacted Liverpool as well. And any player who comes into such a big game where we need to win the game, and he comes into and gets into a moment where he has one shot and he converts it, I think he gets some credit from me, because there have been a lot of players which I just mentioned who have been in those positions where they have been one on one with the goalkeepers, and they have gotten that chance. Even Nicolas Pepe in the first game, if you remember, against Liverpool, he had a one on one chance where he had like a clear shot to take and he could have scored, and things could have been totally different, but he didn't. And even till today, Nicolas Pepe gets abused for that one chance that against Liverpool had he taken, and we would have been in the lead against Liverpool in that game against Emery, and things could have been so different in that match against Liverpool. So Reece Nelson got that one chance in yesterday's game and he took it. So I that is why I'll give him credit for that, and I'll give him a 7.
Okay. And on to the last player, Lacazette. And obviously Lacazette's he got obviously he scored the goal as well. Do you know what though? Thing is with Lacazette, right? He's been scoring of late and he has fixed up. For me, Lacazette, I'm going to give him a 7.5. Just because he has sort of picked things up a little bit lately. But listen, I'd still be happy to see him leave the club if he ended up leaving the club. But yeah, in this game, 7.5. I'm going to give him.
Yeah, I mean, Lacazette, he's become now with this 3-4-3 we're playing. He's become the false 9. He has to drop into midfield to link up with midfield, because he has that central striker forward. He has to do that, or else there's no link up with midfield. There's that third midfielder isn't there. So it takes some of his play away. He's a decent hold-up player and all that, and he loses the ball sometimes and everything. He's not a great striker, to be honest. He's just, he's okay. He took his chance when he got it. It was, it was all gifted to him and everything. He took it okay. But apart from that, he's been struggling, hasn't he? I mean, he's scored a couple of goals lately, but he's been struggling, hasn't he, this season? He hasn't really done well.
Yeah.
But he did okay yesterday. I thought he did okay. Some decent link-up play. Again, the game was difficult with Liverpool, with all the possession and everything. But he worked hard, did decent. He did a decent job, I think, and he scored the goal. So for me, I've got to give him a 7.
Yeah. And Nitesh, Lacazette?
My man of the match, 8.5. And I'll give you 3 reasons. One, the goal and the assist, which everyone has seen. I was already defending him from the start. I said we need him. Second, Sankal pointed it out yesterday. Lacazette was actually pushing around and harassing Fabinho in midfield, and he was actually falling deep there, and he was also doing that job, and he scored the goal as well, and he got the assist as well, which was the first point. The third point is he was the leader in the team yesterday in the attack, and he was the one starting of the high pressing football against Liverpool, which was the reason that they committed those mistakes. If you see, for the Van Dijk goal, for the first one, Reece Nelson, again where he gets credit because I give him that 7. He was the one who pushed Van Dijk a bit, where Van Dijk was complaining at the end of it. But Lacazette quickly got onto the ball, even though it wasn't a free chance just then. And he quickly got onto the ball, got around Allison, and he put it in then. So he was the one who was also leading that press, and he was the leader in the attack. Because Pepe, as we know, was invisible, and the only two players that was actually part of the attack in the first half were Lacazette and Nelson. And if you see, after Aubameyang came on for Lacazette, the attack was nowhere. There was nothing from the attack coming in. So you should give him credit for that creativity as well that he brings to the team. Now, one point I just want to address, whether I would let go of him. I would let go of him if they are able to get two quality players. One, a backup striker that can get the goals and the assists that he gets when Aubameyang is not scoring, and two, a midfielder who can create, because we don't have a creative midfielder, and Lacazette is also filling that role. So a lot of people may not be able to see his overall importance at this point of time, but he's actually filling these two roles as well. And it's a struggle for him. And right now, I'm happy that he's scoring. But if you want to get rid of him, then you need to get these two players first.
Yeah. And the substitutes.
It's not really worth talking about them, is there?
Yeah, they didn't really do a lot. So
they came on and did a job, didn't they? I don't think can't really give them a score.
And I have one thing that I pointed it out yesterday as well. I don't understand one thing. If Arteta was thinking that this game is not as important as the City game, why did not he start Aubameyang from the start? Because knowing that Aubameyang is out of form, he needed as much time as possible before the City game. Sorry, because if you want Aubameyang to be playing against City and scoring goals, you need him on the pitch rather than sitting and taking a break. You need him to be playing and trying to get back his form or finishing touch. But he was not in the game, and when he came on, there were no attacking chances. They had stopped attacking and they were trying to hold on. So again, Aubameyang has come into a game. Now, if he starts against City and the Arteta is expecting goals from him or some kind of creative play or assist from him, I don't think he's going to get it.
No, he struggles out left anyway, doesn't he? So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So obviously the substitutes didn't really do a lot. So yeah, we won't bother rating them because they didn't really do a great deal. But Arteta.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, to go with that, the two holding midfielders there with no creativity, I thought was a bit strange. I thought it was a bit strange to go with Pepe out left. I thought it was a bit strange to start with Reece Nelson. I can understand he used Tierney as a left centre back. I can understand that. I can understand he then used, because he wanted to do that, he then used Saka as a left wing back. I can understand that, but again, that's not their best roles. They're not. We're not using them in the best way they should be used, and that's the thing with Arteta. I mean, he's a tinkerer, isn't he? He's always tinkering around with everything, and nothing's set in stone. And I don't think the players know from week to week what's going to be happening with him. keeps everyone on their toes, and it can be a bad thing, it can be a good thing. Yesterday, I think we saw yesterday that it didn't really work very well. Yes, we got the 3 points, but it's only because we were lucky. They gifted us 2 goals. We created 1 chance apart from the 2 goals we got. They created 24 chances. They had 4 clear-cut chances to score goals. So really, they should have had 4 goals if they were bothering. So they had nearly 70% possession. There were 2-3 periods in the second half where they had 95% possession. So it's a bit weird. We're at home. We should really. I think he rested too many players, changed too many things around. We got lucky. We got the result, so it makes him look good. But again, when you actually look at what happened, for me, I don't think it was that great, to be honest. I mean, he made too many changes and players in different positions again, and and now we're going to play a Manchester City team on Saturday. They've rested their best players. Well, a lot of their performing players they've rested now. They're not on holiday mentally. They're ready. They want to go to the FA Cup final. So, it's going to be very difficult now. We've just come from a game where we didn't create anything. We got 2 goals gifted to us, which didn't create anything. And that again has been our problem this season, is creating goals, not just gifting them to other people, but creating goals as well has been our problem. That's why we've got so many draws. That's why we're always struggling to score goals. So, it's going to be difficult again on Saturday going forwards now. But, yeah. So for me, Arteta, we did win the game, but listen, it wasn't a solid, good victory in my opinion. It was a smash and grab, as I call it. So I have to give him. I'll give him a 6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, and Nitesh.
With respect to Arteta, again, I would also give him a 6. I'll tell you a few reasons. One, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Pepe shouldn't have been starting on the left. It clearly showed on his face as well. He was not happy with where he was being started. That is one. The other thing is, if you look at Reece Nelson, he did start, but he was not that effective. Yes, he got the goal. Again, he's backing a player like when he was backing Eddie too much. He backs Reece Nelson too much, but that's understandable because now Martinelli is injured. But I think Reece Nelson is not the right way to go. Apart from that, he got lucky with respect to playing David Luiz. I've said it, David Luiz will never flourish against the fast attacking team. He's gotten lucky there, and it's paid off for him. With respect to Xhaka, he backed Xhaka, and Xhaka was very bad in the first half. He was good in the second half. So, but see, the thing is, 1 or 2 things like David Luiz and Xhaka, he doesn't have an option, but he has an option with Pepe. And the thing that I pointed out again, he is playing Saka in every position differently. He's expecting miracles out of Saka, who has done decently well till now, fairly well till now. But it's going to stop at some point of time. And if it was an in-form Liverpool, it would have really hurt us. Because Liverpool is out of form, it did not hurt us that much. And the Torreira and Xhaka combination starting, again, you guys were also saying, why is he playing 2 defensive midfielders together? I think the right way to go in that game was going all guns blazing in the first 30 minutes, trying to get a goal, and that would put Liverpool on the back foot because their attack is out of form. So he did things differently, and just because Liverpool was on holiday mode, we have gotten the points. So I won't give him more than a 6. It wasn't his best game. Arteta's best game as manager came against Wolves, and in comparison to that, I think this was nowhere close to that.
Yeah, and so for me, Arteta gets a 6 because, like I said, I don't think he was great. He got it spot on in terms of, like the defensive side of things. You could probably say that the defensive side of things wasn't bad. But again, you have to look in the context of the game, and Liverpool didn't really have anything to play for apart from the points tally They'd won the league. You could see it was evident that they were sort of mentally, not, weren't really taking this game seriously. Mistakes crept in. They listen. They weren't. The intensity wasn't there like it has been all season. And had we beaten a side, a Liverpool side with that intensity, it might have been a different story. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that we won. Don't get me, of course, but it was a nothing game. It was a nothing game, and we were lucky enough to capitalize on their errors. See, now for me, if we do that against Man City, and it'll be a bit more of a victory in terms of the performance side of things, because Man City are always up for a game, whether they've got anything to play for or not, and they won't let up. They won't give us any time. They won't let our back line get away with it. They will be on it. They'll be on us right from the word go. And if we can pull off a result there, then you could sort of probably look on it and say, do you know what? Actually, that was a great result. We really pulled it out the bag. But this Liverpool game is, listen, it was a nothing game. They had nothing to play for. We had nothing to play for apart from pride and confidence. So yeah, listen, for me, Arteta, a 6. I can't give many more than a 6, but I can't give many less than a 6.
I'll give him an extra 0.5, 6 to 6.5 for the fact that he made substitutes within the hour mark for the first time in his life, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. He did actually make some early changes.
Yeah, so I'll give him an additional 0.5 for that. 6.5.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys. Well, that's it. I think we've reached the end of the show because, we've gone through the whole players, and we've given our review. Listen, big up everybody in the chat who's been watching live. Really appreciate your contribution. I know, there's games going on at the moment, so those of you who have actually decided to watch us instead of watching the football, big up yourselves for that. And listen, I need to work out better timings for these sorts of shows, because when there's football going on, the blooming YouTube's dead. So I'll try and be more savvy with when I put shows out. But listen, thanks to everybody who's been watching. I'd like to thank Sam and Nitesh. And what I'm going to do is go around each of you and just give your platforms a shout out. And Sam, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, cheers, Daniel. Thanks again for having me. It's been really good fun as usual. It's good to be on here with Nitesh as well. It's always good fun. My channel is Sam Greenwood TV. Go and check it out. I do mostly late evening content, like chats about Arsenal, latest football news, stuff like that, transfer news, things going on in the world of football, mainly Arsenal. I'll also do an odd quiz here and there when time permits, and when basically feel like it. Check me out on Twitter as well. I'll put some stuff out there now and again. That's at 1980_Greenwood. And yeah, I'm mostly on other people's channels at the moment, like here on the Blind Gooner with Ryan Fletcher now. Shortly afterwards, we're going to be doing a preview for Manchester City there. And so I'm with Simpy. I'm on with Nitesh on his Arsenal fans, Arsenal FC fans, that Facebook page, and also his Beyond the Posts YouTube channel. So yeah, give that check as well. And yeah, just if you check out my channels, as said again, Sam Greenwood TV, subscribe, hit the like button on the videos. That'd be a good help. And thanks again for having me.
Yeah, and Nitesh.
It would be really funny if people actually search for on YouTube for Van Dijk's left foot, trying to find Sam. Because his name tag is Van Dijk's left foot. So and probably they may relate it to the fact why Van Dijk played poorly yesterday, because Sam was on Van Dijk's left foot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, as Sam said, we are actually supposed to start now on Ryan's channel. So probably in like 5 minutes we'll be starting there, and you can find me on Arsenal FC fans, which is the Arsenal page here. And most of the times I'm sleepy, sometimes I'm not. And if you find me when I'm not sleepy, then I'll be on time. If I'm sleepy, I'll be late as I was today. Unfortunately, I couldn't just keep hold of myself and not sleep. But yes, I'm lucky that someone called me and woke me up on the right time so that I could join the stream as well, and went out some of the points in anger, in a bit of anger based on that performance. But obviously there was some happiness for the result as well. And you can find me on Beyond the Post on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well. And I have a website called beyondthepost.net where we post written content. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, so listen, go check out all their channels. Really appreciate that. And do keep subscribing here to the Blind Gooner, and do keep liking the content. Just quick summary coming up over the next few days. Tomorrow, got the preview for the Man City game. I'm not entirely sure of the time yet, but I'm going to keep you posted on YouTube. Then on Saturday, on here we got the watch along for the game, which is going to be a very entertaining game. And yeah, listen, we're all hoping for a victory, but listen, it's going to be very tough. And then on Sunday we got the review of the FA Cup semi-final and player rating. So stay tuned for that. Just a couple of things coming up on the channel. So yeah, do keep subscribing, do keep liking, do keep sharing the content. You guys have been absolutely brilliant who's tuned in. I'd just like to say once again, thank you to Sam and Nitesh for joining the show. And like you say, get yourselves over to Ryan's channel, because we're going to be over there in a matter of minutes. So if you've not, if you're
waiting for us, he's
yeah,
waiting for
so
us
if
in
you're
the backstage. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, so if you're not fed up, with us, go and get yourselves over to there. Listen, until tomorrow, here on the Blind Gooner, we're all going to say goodbye. And listen, have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers,
Thank you,
Ross.
Van Dyke.